Hey, welcome back to another RC Works video. Today we're going to be showing you how to wire a pressure switch. So let's jump into it. Alright, here we are. What you're going to need for the project today: a screwdriver, probably some crimps so that you can use these forked connectors to make a nice professional installation. Wire strippers are probably going to be essential, and a Sharpie if you need to label anything to keep yourself from getting wires mixed up. So let's jump right into it. Alright, so in today's video we're going to be wiring up a pressure switch for a jet pump, but I do want to remind you that if you've got a submersible well pump and you've got a setup similar to this tank tee here, the rules are going to be basically the same process. So we'll use this as an example just because I didn't want to set up a whole well system just to show you this. Alright, so what we've got here is we've got our leads from the motor. We just threw these little yellow pieces on here just so that we could keep those straight. And then we've got our incoming power from our power source or our circuit breaker that we're going to hook up as well. And the bottom line with the pressure switch is you've got power coming in, power going to the motor, power to the motor, and then power coming in. So the important thing to remember with a submersible well pump as opposed to a jet pump is it's going to be the similar situation. However, the pressure switch in a 3-wire system is going to be located before your control panel, and in a 2-wire system it's going to be located somewhere near the pressure tank. So at any rate, let's just go ahead and get these wires hooked up real quick. I'm just going to ditch these little yellow tabbies here. And the great thing about wiring up a pressure switch in pretty much any instance, specifically with jet pumps, is you really can't mix and match which one of these is which. So in here we've got a black wire and a white wire. So in a 120 volt or a 115 volt application, you would have your neutral and you would have your hot wire. Well, when it comes to jet pumps, specifically whether it's 110 or 115 volt or a 230 volt jet pump, it doesn't matter. You can mix these up and it's going to work either way, which is kind of nice to know. There's really no wrong way to hook it up. So these forked terminals are extremely important because they allow for great contact, they're easy to inspect, and they allow consistency. So we just put these underneath the screw like so, tighten it down, and you can always push these out of the way if they're getting in your way. Just make sure everything's nice and snug. These push-on connections are also quite nice. These will come with the AY McDonald jet pumps as a standard in most cases, and they just make it so much easier to pull these off and push these fittings back together. But in a pinch, these forked connectors work really well also. And you'll notice I'm not really taking great care for which side goes to which, because again, it doesn't matter. With our ground, we've got 2 ground screws underneath here, so we'll use 1 ground screw for the ground for the motor, and then the other ground screw is going to be for the grounding of our incoming power. It looks like we've already got that one landed there for the pump. So after many hours of work, we got that fork connector landed right underneath there. And then just make sure all your wires are nice and tidy so that your lid's gonna fit back on there. And then the other thing to check while you're here is make sure that if you are supplying this with 115 volts, this one's factory wired for 115 volts, but if you're gonna be supplying it with 230 volts, you wanna make sure that you remove the back panel on whatever style jet pump you're working with and switch that over accordingly. And the bottom line with the pressure switch is you've got power coming in, power going to the motor, power to the motor, and then power coming in. So you can see with these contactors here that it bridges the connection kind of in a U pattern, and so there's no cross between these two sides. They're both independent and separate from one another. So hopefully that helps you out in figuring how to wire a pressure switch. Alright, well, that's our video for today. Hope you learned how to wire a pressure switch. Short and sweet for you. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. We will catch you next time.